Welcome, everyone, to another episode of LLD Conversations. I'm your host for today, David Brackett. I'm also the chair of the LLD work group, and it's a real pleasure and honor to have Oana Spanti Gattuso. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
Just want to double check. Here with us today, joining in all the way from Idaho. That's correct, right?
Yes.
People move around in this virtual world. You never know where anyone really is, but it could be in Italy or Romania, but you're from Idaho, and it's going to be a special conversation because Juana's language pairs are Romanian, Spanish, and English. And so to use the one phrase that I know in Romanian, ce mai faci?
Ce mai faci? Good job. Yes.
How are you? Excellent. Yes, nailed it. And we're going to get to know Oana, who is also one of our fearless members of the LLD work group. So extra special to have you joining us on the podcast today. So Oana, thank you so much for being here. If we can start off with just briefly describe your interpreter background. How did you get into interpretation?
Yeah, thank you for having me. And it's a joy to be a part of this podcast and a member of the LLD group. I started a long time ago. It feels like a long time ago, at least for me. But I think the main reason why I started in this medical interpreting field was because of my passion for languages. And so I wanted to kind of utilize that passion and those skills that I had and be able to use them in this field, in the medical field, knowing that there were patients and providers who needed medical interpreters who spoke these languages. So really, that's what attracted me towards this field in the beginning.
And today you are working as a medical interpreter, staff interpreter, is that correct, at a hospital?
Actually, I am not an actual medical interpreter, but I'm a licensed trainer for interpreters, for medical interpreters. And I'm officially known as the educator of the Cultural and Languages Services where I work.
Excellent. And how do your trainings work? How do we learn more about them?
Well, for right now, they're mostly internal trainings, but we're looking into being able to provide those externally at some point in time, hopefully sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. And so you're training internally your staff at the hospital for how to work with interpreters?
Yes, well, I'm training the staff interpreters that we have, or maybe, I guess, providing some refresher courses on certain topics. And I do go to different departments and clinics, and we talk about our services, how to access our services, how to work with a medical interpreter, those type of things.
Yeah, and in that training, when you're training your medical providers, what are some of the most common misconceptions that you find with medical providers working with interpreters that you really need to help make sure that the medical providers understand?
I think one of the biggest misconception right now is the difference between a medical interpreter and a medical translator. And because we keep hearing providers who call our interpreters translators, so providing that clarification, I think, is very helpful. And in general, how to work with a medical interpreter, explaining to them that, hey, these are the protocols that staff interpreters need to follow, or whether they're staff or contract interpreters, really. And, the fact that they need to speak in first person, they need to be accurate, interpret everything that is said as it is said, etc. So I think this helps a lot to understand a little better the role of an interpreter. But there's other things too, but just some of the things that they're kind of popping in my head right now.
And for anyone listening that maybe isn't quite sure yet, what is the difference between a translator and an interpreter? Because I definitely hear them interchanged a lot. So help us out understand.
Yeah. So the way I try to explain it is an interpreter is transferring a spoken message from one language to the other, and the translator is transferring a written message from one language to the other. And these are skills that, let's say a medical interpreter can be a translator as well, because they have the skills to be one, but not all medical interpreters can be translators, because we try to emphasize the fact that medical translator has certain skills that maybe not all medical interpreters have. So anyway, we go into more length about this topic, and I think usually the moment we separate that from, medical interpreters transfer the spoken message and translators transfer the written message, they kind of have okay, I get it. So it works pretty okay.
Yeah, that was a great explanation for the difference, and so important for everyone to be reminded of, because we do hear it so frequently mistakenly used. So tell us a little bit about, why did you join the LLD work group, and what is it that someone else maybe that's hearing about the LLD work group, the Languages of Limited Diffusion work group, why might that be an interesting opportunity for someone else to look at?
Well, I think it's we cannot deny the fact that the languages of lesser diffusion are out there, and the reason why I wanted to join was because I wanted to understand how can we help interpreters who use these languages. How can we help the patients who use these languages? So for me, being part of this group was a way to kind of have access to those to have access to that great advice, some of the tips that are available through this group, the podcasts that are great. I've seen some amazing podcasts that I've learned from quite a bit as well. And because I feel like this is something that keeps growing and growing, and we need to be on top of it as a healthcare organization to understand the needs of everybody involved. So
yeah, you really hit the nail on the head there. I mean, there's so many opportunities for the more common languages out there, and there's just not a lot of trainings or that are geared towards languages of limited diffusion. And we want, here at the LLD work group, we want people to be able to see that no matter what language you speak or you want to interpret for, or you currently are interpreting for, that there are opportunities, training opportunities for you to still expand and go take your interpretation or translation career to the next level. And we want to help bring that to the forefront, so that all languages are seen as equal, in that there's equal opportunity for training and to expand and to take your career to the next level. And that might look differently depending on the language, right? There might be different opportunities where you might have to travel a little farther to find the right individuals. But now in our virtual world, it's really wonderful, because there are those virtual training opportunities out there for individuals that want to get training, no matter what language they might speak or sign. And when you're working with a lot of medical staff as well as interpreters, what is that one message that you'd want to give to current and maybe new interpreters that are just getting started? What's a message that you'd want to give to them to help them take their career to the next level, where they might be feeling a little bit stuck?
Well, I think as a new interpreter, you want to make sure that this is something that you're passionate about, I think, first and foremost. But I think becoming better at what you do means that you need to be curious, you need to learn, you need to keep learning, you need to find those resources that allow you to become better at what you do. Because I feel like, the moment you become an interpreter, that doesn't mean learning stops, right? I feel like learning is a lifelong journey, and you need to engage in different professional development opportunities to become better at what you do. And I think my message that I have to whoever is listening is to be curious and to keep learning, because that's how we become. That's how we improve. That's how we become better at what we do. I think learning never ends. You got to keep doing it.
Great message, and the opportunities are out there. We just have to look for them, and just encouraging everyone to continue to take your interpretation to the next level, because ultimately, who benefits the most is those receiving the
services,
the interpretation, the services, right? The patients. So thank you so much, Oana, for joining in here. And your beautiful fireplace and Christmas tree behind you looks so warm and cozy. And very, very excited to have you on board. Oana just joined the LLD work group here recently, so we're honored to have her joining. And you will be hearing more podcast conversations with her leading them as well here as we start and kick off the new year. So stay tuned for that, and continue to follow us here through the NCIHC website, and obviously LinkedIn and social media as well.
Thank you so much. And it's been great being part of this group. And I hope that everybody has some happy holidays.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, happy holidays, everyone, and we will catch you next time.